A honeymoon, a time of love, celebration, and the start of a new chapter. For Christ Chen, a young, vibrant woman full of dreams, it was supposed to be just that. A luxurious getaway to the beautiful beaches of Fiji with her husband, Bradley Dawson. But what started as a romantic escape quickly turned into a horrifying tragedy. Days after their arrival, Christ was found dead in their lavish resort villa. Her body bore signs of a brutal assault, and the man she had just vowed to spend her life with had mysteriously disappeared. What really happened that night? Was it a sudden act of rage, or was there something more sinister beneath the surface? As we uncover the chilling details of this case, you won't believe the shocking twists that led to Bradley Dawson's arrest and the courtroom battle that followed. Stay with us, this story is far from over. Christ Chen was the kind of person everyone adored, kind-hearted, full of life, and always wearing a bright smile. A talented pharmacist with a passion for helping others, she had a promising future ahead of her. When she met Bradley Dawson, a financial analyst from Tennessee, their whirlwind romance felt like a fairy tale. They seemed like the perfect match, two successful, adventurous souls ready to take on the world together. Their love story moved fast, and soon, wedding bells rang. Friends and family celebrated their union, believing Christ had found her happily ever after. Their honeymoon destination. Fiji, a paradise of crystal-clear waters, golden beaches, and breathtaking sunsets. It was the perfect place to celebrate their new life as husband and wife. But behind the picture-perfect smiles and social media posts, was there something more? Something no one saw coming. As the couple arrived at the lavish Turtle Island resort, everything seemed magical. They spent their days exploring the island, sipping cocktails, and enjoying the breathtaking views. But just days into their dream vacation, paradise turned into a nightmare. Christ was found lifeless in their private villa. Bradley was nowhere to be found. What had gone so horribly wrong? How did a honeymoon meant for love and laughter end in tragedy? As investigators dug deeper, shocking secrets unraveled, secrets that painted a very different picture of their so-called perfect love story. Stay with us as we reveal the chilling details of the night that changed everything. The sun had set over the breathtaking shores of Turtle Island, casting a golden glow over the private villas. Christ Chen and Bradley Dawson had spent the day in what seemed like bliss, lounging on the pristine beaches, sipping cocktails, and watching the waves roll in. But as darkness fell, the perfect honeymoon took a dark and unexpected turn. At dinner, resort staff noticed a shift in their behavior. Christ, usually full of life, seemed quieter, almost tense. Witnesses later recalled hushed arguments, stolen glances filled with unease. Something was wrong, but no one could have imagined the horror that was about to unfold. By midnight, the once peaceful villa became the scene of something far more sinister. Guests in nearby villas reported hearing muffled voices, an argument escalating behind closed doors. Then, silence. An eerie, unsettling silence. The next morning, the nightmare truly began. Christ was found lifeless inside their villa, her body bearing signs of a struggle. The woman who had arrived on the island full of love and excitement was now gone. And the most chilling part? Bradley Dawson was missing. As resort staff rushed to contact authorities, a massive search was launched. Hours later, Dawson was found, wandering on another part of the island, barefoot, confused, and without his belongings. When questioned, his explanation was vague. He claimed he had gone kayaking. Alone. In the middle of the night. But the evidence told a different story. Christ's injuries suggested something far more violent. The honeymoon suite, once a place of romance, was now a crime scene. Bloodstains, broken glass, signs of a struggle, everything pointed to one thing. This was no accident. As investigators pieced together the final hours of Christ Chen's life, the truth became more horrifying. What had happened inside that villa? What triggered the deadly events of that night? And was this truly a crime of passion, or something even darker? The world was about to find out. But one thing was certain, Christe's dream honeymoon had turned into a nightmare she never woke up from. And now, all eyes were on the man who had once promised to love and protect her. The moment authorities arrived at the luxury villa, they knew something wasn't right. Christe Chen's body bore injuries inconsistent with an accident. The room itself told a disturbing story: overturned furniture, shattered glass, and bloodstains that hinted at a violent struggle. But the biggest mystery? Bradley Dawson was nowhere to be found. The resort staff recalled seeing him the night before, but by morning, he had vanished. When officers finally located him on a remote part of the island, he looked disoriented. His clothes were damp, his feet bare, and when questioned, his story was filled with contradictions. "I went kayaking," he said. "I just needed some air." But there was one problem: no kayak was missing from the resort. His sudden disappearance only raised more suspicions. Why would a man, whose wife had just died, flee instead of calling for help? Forensic experts soon uncovered more chilling details. Christe's autopsy revealed severe blunt force trauma, injuries consistent with an attack, not an accident. The cause of death? Multiple blows, likely inflicted by human hands. The evidence pointed to only one conclusion: this was no tragic mishap. This was murder. As investigators dug deeper into the couple's past, a darker picture began to emerge. To the outside world, Christe and Bradley seemed like the perfect newlyweds. But behind closed doors, there were signs of trouble. Close friends revealed that Christe had confided in them about tensions in their relationship. There were arguments, moments of unease. But was that enough motive for murder? Then came the most damning piece of evidence: blood found on Bradley Dawson's clothing. Lab results confirmed it was Christe's. When confronted, his response only deepened the mystery. "I don't remember what happened," he said. "I loved her." But the evidence spoke louder than words. The resort security footage was the final nail in the coffin. It showed Bradley leaving the villa in the middle of the night, walking toward the water, his movements frantic. He wasn't kayaking. He was running. The investigation was now at a boiling point. Was this a crime of passion? A sudden outburst of violence? Or was there something even more sinister hiding beneath the surface? One thing was certain: Christe's death was no accident. And the man who had promised to love and cherish her had become the prime suspect in a case that would send shockwaves across the world. But was justice within reach? Or were there more secrets waiting to be uncovered? The courtroom was packed. Reporters, legal experts, and members of the public had gathered to witness what had become one of the most high-profile murder trials in recent years. Bradley Dawson, the man once seen as a loving husband, now stood accused of murdering his wife, Christe Chen, during what was supposed to be their dream honeymoon in Fiji. The prosecution wasted no time painting a chilling picture. They laid out the evidence: the injuries on Christe's body, the blood on Bradley's clothing, his sudden disappearance from the crime scene, and his inconsistent statements to the police. Every piece fit together like a tragic puzzle. Christe Chen was brutally attacked, the prosecutor declared. And the man responsible is sitting right here in this courtroom. They brought in expert witnesses, medical examiners who testified that Christe's injuries were not from a simple fall, but from a sustained and violent assault. The forensic team confirmed that the blood found on Bradley's clothing was a direct match to Christe's. And perhaps most damning of all, resort employees testified that they had heard loud arguments coming from the couple's villa on the night of the incident. But the defense had its own version of events. Bradley's lawyer painted him as a man who had simply made poor decisions in the aftermath of his wife's death. He panicked, the defense argued. A tragedy occurred, and he didn't know how to react. They pointed to his lack of a prior criminal record, his reputation as a devoted husband, and his visible distress when he was arrested. They also questioned the reliability of the forensic evidence, suggesting that the injuries could have been the result of an accident. But could an accident explain everything? The jury didn't seem convinced. As the trial progressed, the prosecution dropped a bombshell. A former co-worker of Bradley took the stand and revealed that he had a history of violent outbursts, something that had never been made public before. Suddenly, the idea of an impulsive, drunken attack seemed far more plausible. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. Bradley Dawson himself took the stand. He appeared nervous, his hands shaking as he addressed the court. "I loved Christe," he said, his voice breaking. "I would never hurt her." But under cross-examination, he struggled to explain why he had fled the crime scene, why his story had changed multiple times, and why there was no evidence to support his claims of an accident. His credibility crumbled before the jury's eyes. Finally, after weeks of intense testimony and deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict. The room was silent as the foreperson stood. Gasps filled the courtroom. Bradley Dawson showed no emotion, staring blankly as the judge sentenced him. Christe's family wept, holding on to each other as they finally received the justice they had fought for. But even as the case came to a close, one question still lingered: what really happened that night in that secluded villa? And was justice truly served? What started as a dream honeymoon ended in the most unimaginable way, a young bride dead, and the man she loved convicted of her murder. Christe Chen and Bradley Dawson had promised to spend their lives together, but within days of saying, "I do," their love story turned into a headline-making tragedy. Even with the verdict delivered, the case left behind more questions than answers. What really happened inside that villa on that fateful night? Did a moment of rage turn deadly, or was there something even more sinister at play? Bradley Dawson insisted he never meant to harm his wife, yet the evidence told a different story. The bruises, the broken bones, the bloodstains, each one a silent witness to what truly occurred. And what about Bradley? Was he truly the monster the prosecution made him out to be, or was he a man who lost control in a moment of drunken rage? Was his punishment enough, or was there more to the story that the world would never know? In the end, this wasn't just a case about crime, it was a story about love, trust, and betrayal. A reminder that even in moments of joy, darkness can lurk in the most unexpected places. This case is a chilling reminder of how quickly love can turn into tragedy. But what do you think? Was justice truly served, or do you believe there's more to this story than what we were told? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, we read every single one. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, it really helps spread awareness about cases like this. And if you love true crime stories that dig deep into the mystery, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss an update. Also, share this video with your friends and family. Let's keep this conversation going.